Have you ever felt like the world is falling apart inside you, even when on the outside everything seems normal? Have you ever woken up with your heart racing and unexplained anguish in your chest and the feeling that you're running out of air, even though you're breathing? If yes, then this moment is yours. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover now may surprise you, and maybe it's exactly what your soul needs right now. Anxiety has a silent way of invading us. She arrives without asking permission, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in the middle of a smile. And the worst thing is that no one sees it. You keep working, taking care of the house, talking to people. But inside, it feels like you're fighting to keep yourself together. It's like there's a storm happening inside your chest, and no one but you can hear the thunder. Maybe you don't even know how to explain exactly what you're feeling. You just know there's something wrong, that there is a constant restlessness, a fear that has no face, a pressure that tightens the chest and doesn't let go. And at that moment, the thought comes, where is God in all this? And I want to tell you, He is closer than you imagine. Even when you don't feel anything, even when everything seems too dark, silent and heavy, He is still there, seeing every tear that no one saw, hearing every prayer that barely managed to come out of His mouth. The truth is that there is a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a peace that does not come from controlling situations, nor from the absence of problems. It is a peace that comes from presence. Make sure you are not alone in this internal struggle. And this peace is available to you now, even with your heart racing, even with your confused thoughts, even with your tired soul. You know, anxiety tries to convince you that everything is out of place, that you lost control. That won't last. But what if I told you that you didn't have to fight alone? That there is a safe, quiet, deep place where your soul can rest even in the midst of chaos? What if that place isn't a physical place, but a person? Someone who knows your heart better than you know yourself. Someone who understands even what you haven't been able to put into words yet. Have you ever been through this? Being so overwhelmed inside that you can't even explain it to anyone? Maybe you are experiencing exactly this right now. And maybe, just maybe, this video is the way. God chose to reach you at this moment because He sees what no one sees. He understands what no one understands. And He has the power to bring relief where there is only hardship. Take a deep breath. Stay here with me, because now we're going to talk to this God who brings peace even when anxiety doesn't let you breathe. And while you take a deep breath on the other side, perhaps feeling that this video is talking to exactly what you couldn't even explain, I want to make you a sincere invitation. If this topic makes sense to you, if in some way this moment touched something inside, leave here in the comments what has reached you the most so far. Sometimes writing down what we feel is a way of organizing what our heart is trying to say. And you can be sure you are not alone. There are many people going through the same pain, seeking the same relief, and when you share, you also help someone feel less alone. This space here is more than a channel. It's a community, a place where faith meets wounds, and where God even uses comments to heal, console, and strengthen. So, if you haven't liked this video yet, do so now. The simple gesture of pressing this button shows YouTube that this content has value, and with that, it can reach other people who are right now trying to breathe through anxiety. And if you feel that you need to continue receiving messages like this, which speak to your soul and remind you of God's presence, even on the most difficult days, subscribe to the channel here. This way you don't miss anything and are still part of something bigger, something that brings comfort, prayer, and peace to those who are screaming in silence. Your presence here makes all the difference. Every comment, every like, every new subscription. All of this helps keep this mission of touching lives alive with the right word at the right time. Now breathe once more, because what comes next might be exactly what you needed to hear today. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because there is a pain that no one often notices, and perhaps you don't even know how to name it exactly. It's like living inside a silent whirlwind. Anxiety at this level is not just an ordinary restlessness. It's like an invisible suffocation, which tightens the chest without warning, accelerates directionless thoughts, and distorts the perception of everything around. You continue doing your tasks, answering messages, fulfilling your obligations. But inside you are fighting a silent battle with something that seems bigger than you. It is at this point that the mind begins to spiral. Racing thoughts, scenarios that never happened and yet make you suffer as if they were real. The heart races, the hands sweat, the body responds to a danger that does not exist on the outside, but that, inside, is a constant threat. It's as if your own head has become a prison, and the key is lost somewhere among your attempts to control what you can't control. And the hardest thing is that often no one notices. Anxiety wears a mask. You smile, you talk, you appear on social media. But when you're alone, the emptiness appears, the pressure returns, and fear visits you again. It's an invisible but real conflict. And the worst, it starts to affect your outlook on everything. You start to doubt who you are, the value you have, the decisions you made. And that's when the emotional impact starts to take you away from your essence, as if you were living in survival mode all the time. But there is something that anxiety doesn't want you to discover. It is not your identity. It doesn't define your story. This suffocation is not the end. It is just part of the journey, a phase that, when crossed with truth, faith, and courage, can transform you from within. Because sometimes what seems out of control is just the body's cry for rest and the soul's cry for direction. And if you are here, feeling that all this makes sense, comment below, "I'm on this journey." 2. This shows that you are not alone and that this path can be lighter when we share the pain without fear. Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject because anxiety, when not welcomed, turns into something that goes far beyond simple discomfort. It becomes a constant weight, a kind of shadow that accompanies you behind the scenes of your routine, even when everything seems to be working out there. The body even tries to follow the rhythm, but inside there is a knot, a tightness, the chest that doesn't go away, an insomnia that visits you every night, as if your mind refuses to turn off. Sleep comes, but it does not bring rest. You wake up more tired than you went to sleep, with your head heavy with thoughts that never stop. This constant state of alert begins to affect your decisions, your perception of reality. You begin to see the world through a filter clouded by worry. The heart lives anticipating tragedies that never happened. Any simple situation becomes a threat. Any silence turns into abandonment. And deep down, all you wanted was to turn off this feeling, breathe in peace, feel like everything is okay, even when nothing is. This is where a hidden truth comes in that many people forget. Anxiety is also spiritual. It affects your faith, your connection with God, your identity. She lies saying that you've lost control, that you're alone, that you won't be able to get out of this. But what you may not yet realize is that this crisis could be the starting point for real transformation. Because it is at the limit of control that faith begins to operate with greater force. When your mind no longer finds a way out, that's when the sky starts to move. There is a kind of peace that does not depend on the end of the problem. A peace that enters the scene in the middle of the mess. It does not come from logic, but from presence. And perhaps everything you are experiencing now is revealing something deeper, a thirst for something true, which goes beyond appearance, disguised strength, the attempt to control everything. Comment there. That makes sense to me. Sometimes, just by writing, we start to organize what we feel. And now, there's something important you need to hear now. I want to go even deeper into this subject, because there is a moment in the journey of those who experience anxiety when the pain begins to touch an even more sensitive layer, the spiritual. When you try everything and nothing seems to alleviate it. When the techniques no longer work. when your thoughts don't slow down and your chest remains heavy. That question arises that even in silence echoes within the soul. Why is God silent? Maybe you've already asked yourself this. Maybe you're wondering now. You pray, you cry, you ask for direction, you cry out for answers, but it seems like everything stays the same. And then comes the doubt. Has God forgotten me? This is a difficult question to admit even to yourself, because it sounds like a lack of faith. But let me tell you a truth that may free your heart now. Having this doubt does not make you less spiritual. It does not cancel your faith. This question, in fact, is a sign that you still believe, because no one demands silence from those who don't wait for an answer. This discomfort you feel is a reflection of your wounded hope, not the absence of God. Sometimes his silence is not rejection. It's preparation. It's as if, behind the scenes, something is being aligned within you. A new level of perception, a new way of seeing life and yourself. Anxiety screams, but God works in a whisper. He does not respond in a time of haste, but in a time of healing. And healing often begins in silence. There is a hidden truth here. Just because you don't hear doesn't mean he isn't acting. It is possible that, at this very moment, he is closer than ever, just waiting for your heart to stop fighting to finally welcome the peace that comes from him, and not from control. Maybe this silence is just the pause between your pain and the transformation that is on the way. Write it in the comments. I need to hear from God. Sometimes, just by recognizing this, the soul begins to breathe differently. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because there is a silent truth that can completely change the way you look at all of this. God sees what no one else sees. And I'm not talking about a superficial view from someone who observes from afar. I'm talking about a look that permeates your appearance, that goes beyond the forced smiles, the polite words, the routines carried out automatically. He sees what's going on in there now. He sees the effort that no one sees, the struggle that you fight inside, the fear that you hide even from yourself. And more than just seeing, he cares. It's hard to believe that when you don't feel anything, I know. When everything is silent, it seems like you are invisible even to God. But he doesn't need noise to act. It doesn't depend on your strength to take care of you. The word is clear and direct, casting all your anxiety upon him, because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5-7. It doesn't say he will have it, nor maybe he will take care of it. He says he has. It's already taken care of. It is already present. Even if you still can't realize it, there is a profound impact in this revelation. Because anxiety tries to make you believe that everything depends on you, that if you don't control it, you will lose. But God comes with another mentality, delivery, the trust, the rest. This is not just an emotional change. It is a spiritual transformation. When you understand that you don't need to carry everything alone, the soul begins to find space to breathe. And in that space, something new begins to be born. A type of faith that you don't need to feel to believe. A type of trust that knows that God's silence is never an absence, but is often the perfect setting for a fresh start. Comment there. He is taking care of me. Just by declaring this, something inside you starts to reorganize itself. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because there is something that many underestimate when we talk about anxiety, the power of prayer. And here, I'm not just talking about reciting words or repeating ready-made phrases. I'm talking about a sincere movement of the soul, a moment in which you stop everything, close your eyes, release the air trapped in your chest, and speak to God in the most raw, most real, most personal way. True prayer is not pretty. It is honest. That's when you admit, I can't take it anymore. Help me. And in that moment, something changes. Not outside of you, but inside. Praying is more than asking. It's delivering. It's putting into God's hands what's hurting you inside. It's as if you lifted a weight off your shoulders and said, I no longer have the strength to carry this alone, and believe me, God understands this language. He responds not only to what you say, but to what you feel. Anxiety begins to lose strength when you pray, because at that moment, your mind stops fighting with its own limitations and aligns itself with something bigger. Prayer calms the chaos because it reconnects you with your origin, and there is no anxiety that can resist the presence of the Creator. There is a hidden truth behind prayer that many people only realize when they live it. It doesn't just change circumstances, it transforms mentality. You start praying anxiously and end with a lighter heart, not because everything was resolved immediately, but because you understood that you no longer needed to control everything. And that is already freedom. It is this space of surrender that transforms despair into faith, fear into confidence, tiredness into rest. Comment there. I want to pray like this. Sometimes just by declaring this, you already take the first step towards experiencing something new. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, bringing something that might help you see yourself with more compassion. I remember Mariana's story. An ordinary woman, full of responsibilities, mother-wife, always trying to keep everything in order. On the outside, she was firm, organized, even admired by many. But no one saw what was happening behind the scenes in her mind. At night, when the house slept, it was as if an invisible wave took over. Her heart was racing out of nowhere. The air seemed to disappear, and she couldn't understand why. It was anxiety, a formless fear, but with real impact. One of those days, sitting on the bathroom floor, with her face wet with tears that she couldn't even explain, Mariana did something she had never done with such abandon. She spoke to God in the most raw way possible. He didn't use nice words. He just cried and said, "I don't know what to do anymore. Help me." There was no light from the sky, no background music. But at that moment, something started to change. It was as if chaos had heard that whispered prayer. Her breathing slowed down. The chest became less heavy. And for the first time in a long time, she felt like she wasn't alone in that fight. The interesting thing is that the problems did not disappear the next day. But something inside her did, the idea that she needed to face everything alone. Mariana understood that true transformation does not begin when anxiety goes away, but when the presence of God occupies the space that was previously occupied by fear. And this turning point was not magic. It was faith. A faith built in the midst of pain, not outside of it. Comment there. I want to live this too. Sometimes recognizing this desire is the first step to opening your heart in a new way. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because after everything we've said so far, perhaps your heart is asking for relief that words alone cannot bring. And it is exactly at this point that prayer becomes more than a habit. It becomes a refuge. It doesn't matter if you are silent, if you don't know how to start, if you feel like you won't be able to finish. What matters is that God understands even what you cannot say. Prayer is that sacred moment where the soul breathes, where pain finds comfort and fear finds direction. And if at this moment you want to pray with me, even in thought, even in the midst of crying, I want to guide you through these simple but profound words. Lord, I can't breathe, but I know that your Spirit sustains me. Take this anxiety. Take my heart now. I no longer have the strength to pretend that everything is okay. I surrender. I choose to trust you, even without understanding everything, even without feeling, even in silence. Give me peace where there is only confusion. Give me lightness where there is only heaviness. And remind me that I am not alone, because I know the Lord is here. This prayer is not a formula. It's a start. It's a delivery. It's you saying, I can't do it anymore. Sometimes the greatest transformation begins in that whisper. And the impact this generates within us is not just emotional, it is spiritual. Something changes. Something aligns. Something begins to rebuild itself inside. Comment there. This prayer is mine too. Sometimes, just by saying this out loud or in writing, the heart finds a new rhythm to continue. If you've made it this far, it's because something in this content resonated with you, and knowing that already makes it all worth it. So, if this message spoke to your heart, if it brought peace, relief, or even just a different sigh in the middle of the day, leave a like. This helps the space to continue to exist and reach those who also need to breathe easier. Take advantage and subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content like this simple, sincere, and that touches the depths of the soul. Here is a place for those who want to walk with faith, even on difficult days. And if you stayed with me until the end, write in the comments, "I'm with you until the end." It will be wonderful to see who has come this far in this conversation. And look, there's a video here that complements this topic and can strengthen you even more. Click and stay with me there. You don't have to go through this journey alone.